America's New Clothes here. Mike Arishtian. We are
Price
talking
Robinson.
one of the most popular propositions on the ballot. We're hopefully going to get to all of them through this election cycle. But Prop 22 is very near and dear to people's hearts because AB5, which passed in the fall, is probably one of the least popular things to ever come out of Sacramento. This is the Assembly bill, which says that workers have to be classified as employees. Independent contractors cannot work without healthcare, without paying into workers' comp. So these are things that are everybody from massage therapists to language translators to
strippers
to software developers, I'm telling you, are not keen on AB5, and you're seeing a lot of people cross the aisle because of it. Now, the question we're asking today, and Price and I are going to debate, is Prop 22 the right answer to AB5? Because obviously, in an ideal world, we'd like to repeal AB5 entirely. We think it does not bode well for the economic liberty in this state. But Prop 22 is this carve out for just Uber and Lyft and Postmates, which allows them effectively to continue to hire independent contractors. They told the state of California they likely won't be able to continue to operate for the next year at least, if there is in fact no exclusion made for them with AB5. So we're trying to figure out, a lot of conservatives out there are saying, okay, I know that I'm supposed to vote yes on Prop 20 and Prop 22, but Price has some ideas about where it might not be exactly the right choice. Should we be pursuing this kind of legislation? So Price, thanks for coming on and offering your thoughts.
Oh, hey. Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, no, I come from kind of a unique example. I'm a Republican in the state of California who I want Uber and I want Lyft to be able to hire independent contractors for their business. I think it's the only reasonable way that these companies will be able to be sustainably run going into the future, unless you just want them to move to a completely automotive, which is what you see them doing right now. In the case of AB5, in a lot of cases, they're doubling down on their automotive vehicle production or development when it comes to just outsourcing the driver completely. But when it comes to California, a state that prioritizes justice and equality, this is neither just or equal to many of the business owners in the state of California. Right. I mean, Mike, you're an independent contractor. I'm an independent contractor. Many of us who are independent contractors, we don't have $186 million, which has currently been put down in support of Prop 22, which will carve out a specific exemption for these big tech companies.
Right.
My theory as a Republican is we want to create the freest marketplace possible that is, free of bureaucracy and allows you to run your business the way you want to run it. So instead of creating a special cutout for these companies, I think that as Republicans, it is our duty to vote no for Prop 22, to try to spur these companies to then double down on trying to enter the California market, which is the largest consumer market in the United States of any state, to support efforts to lead to the repeal of AB5 through lobbying efforts, through supporting candidates. I mean, if you put $186 million down towards supporting Republican candidates who wanted to bring economic freedom back to the state of California,
in the Assembly,
you can do wonders.
Right.
No, you can do wonders. So,
right. So your suggestion is why throw these big companies that have gigantic market caps in the billions, why throw them a lifeboat when they'll be more incentivized to help everybody deal with this notion of independent contracting if we don't send them said lifeboat? The only trade-off is we might not have Uber for a couple of years, right?
Well, exactly. And once again, as someone who's a frequent user of both Uber and Lyft, it's going to be difficult. These are services that I want to use in the state of California. I mean, California is a driving state.
Yeah.
If you go to the city of Los Angeles, you go down to the city of San Diego, you need to get, if you don't have a vehicle, Uber is pretty much the fastest, easiest, and safest way that you can get around outside of riding a bus with a bunch of crazy homeless people on it. So, I mean,
well, I'm inclined to vote yes to keep Uber available, but I also know it also would set another wrinkle in this would be that you may in fact have set a precedent then for the regulations that need to be met for any company that wants to hire independent contractors, Because if you look at the fine print, Uber, because of the way their app works, makes it relatively easy to see how many hours a week their driver stays on the road or is clocked in, and then what percentage of that time that they're clocked in are they actually engaged with a customer. All of those factor into whether or not they get health insurance, to whether or not they get sick leave, and then they have to be paid at least 120% bump above minimum wage per their time clocked in. That's a level of regulation that it's very easy for these big market cap companies to comply with. But for me as an independent software developer hiring a handful of independent contractors, that's not exactly some regulation that's going to be really easy for me to comply with. And if that's what it takes for me to get the same deal in allowing my company to hire independent contractors, it's going to be a pretty high bar to meet. So that's I guess another reason that follows your point of voting no.
Oh no, I mean, I think that it's the only option that you can make, because if Prop 22 does go through, these companies no longer have any incentive to help any other businesses try to repeal AB 5 in the future.
That's
because
right.
they've already parsed out their special piece of the pie that they're able to use to continue to operate here, while the rest of us get shafted by the state of California. So from my perspective, so like I said, from a Republican's perspective, I would say no on Prop 22. It's a strategic vote. It's going to hurt in the short term, but if my theory is correct, I think that it would be beneficial in the long term for the health of the economy of the state of California.
Right on. All right, thanks. Hey, we are very interested in economic liberty. We want the people in the state of California to be able to work when they want, where they want. The flexibility is what's compelling about these kinds of things. The gig workers that I've talked to that have done everything from airport rides to going out at night and hitting up the nightlife, none of them that I've spoken to, and I realize this is anecdotal, none of them seem interested in having the freedom and flexibility of when to work be taken away. So we're all about that. Hopefully we could do some deep dives on some of these other propositions. Thanks for tuning in. Please share this if you found it interesting.